Hey guys.
Hello, we're here with another installment of Sci-Femme, and today we're talking about Katniss.
And we're drinking some rose petal tea.
Yeah. So, Katniss. Obviously, we love Katniss.
We love Katniss. Suzanne Collins creates a world in Panem that does have very specific and major problems. Obviously, the reaping is one of them. Everything kind of ties back to classism and to use of resources. To this end, that's a huge issue. There aren't a lot of gendered slurs in this book or in this world. Katniss is never being called too masculine or lesbian.
She is hated by some characters in
Yeah.
this book,
Yeah,
and they will
it's
be
a love fest.
going after her with every tool in their arsenal.
But they don't talk about how she looks as a way to tear her down. Even President Snow,
It doesn't
who's
even
like
occur to
from
him.
that shallow capital, is not like, well, she looked like shit. Did you see her hair? It's always, oh, we've got to take her down. She's dumb. She's silly. Peeta, likewise, is never torn down for having a lot more sensitive, emotional, what we in our world would deem feminine qualities.
Even by, say, Gale, who is one of the few examples of extreme masculinity. There aren't a lot in the book of like people who cleave very closely to their gender
aside from
role.
the early tributes, I'd say, and that's more of a power fantasy because they literally have to be
Yeah,
powerful.
or the
to
early
survive.
male tributes, because the early female tributes, with maybe the exception of Glimmer, are not very feminine. So even Gale, who's really masculine and has reason to sort of not like Peeta, doesn't call him a sissy, doesn't call him gay. That's just those are
it's just not
insults
a
that
thing
are
in
off
this world.
limits, I
Yeah.
guess, or it
They
just doesn't occur
don't
to them.
exist in this world. And I think as a result, you get Katniss is such a full character. She is a feminine character who is very active. She's pushing against boundaries in a way that I think resonate with a lot of YA readers, that people keep trying to use her in some way by putting her in these specific spaces and making her act in specific ways that she's confronting because it's not her.
And what's great about Katniss, it isn't that she's not a woman, it isn't that she's not feminine, it's that she expands the idea of what feminine can be, what a woman, what a girl can be, to include what she is.
I think Collins does a really cool thing too in contrasting that with her home life between her mother and Prim, because Katniss's mom and Prim at the outset, they're much more what we would call traditionally feminine, and yet Katniss's mom is incapable of caretaking, is really her deal. She's a feminine character who is completely incapable of fulfilling her own role, and Prim, by contrast, seems similar, but is very active.
And the two of them are also, by the end of the story, also able to expand the idea of what femininity is, because Prim goes into a war zone to heal.
Yeah, like many women do, and have for hundreds of years.
Yeah, funny that. And Katniss's mother eventually is able to somewhat overcome her
own trauma.
Her own trauma. There's something to that narrative of overcoming trauma that's so important in this series. I've seen a lot of people really don't like the epilogue. They don't like that Katniss got a happy ending.
For me, the epilogue is really bittersweet because the only way Katniss can scrap together a happy ending for herself is to remove herself from a world she no longer trusts. For me, her happy ending is just stability. That's what she can have for herself.
But she does get it. The point of the epilogue to me was that your tragedy and your trauma doesn't have to define you forever.
It doesn't ruin your entire life.
Or your ability to have a life. It's a very hopeful message in that you can go through something as horrific as what Katniss did and come out the other side.
And it doesn't go away.
No.
We're not left with she's magically cured of her PTSD. It's something she lives with on a daily basis, but she lives with it.
She lives with it, and she lives a life that she's happy to live. Which is it's such an important message to have in the world that we live in today, which has so many things that are so similar to the world of Panem.
Because for Katniss, there's no magical thing that we as people on Earth could do that would just erase what's happening to Syrian refugees. There's nothing we can do that will just like make that experience magically not be part of them.
But
the story gives you hope.
With our help, like with people's help, like they can rebuild their lives in the future. Like that hope exists.
It's powerful for just, a teen girl who's going through some shit.
Katniss has to deal with her emotions and reactions towards being used, towards being turned into a commodity by people who want to control her.
By so many people. By Snow, by
Coin in the end, and by
Yeah.
like everyone sees the power that she unintentionally wields.
I love that because teen girls are so powerful.
We live in a world now where everyone is trying to get a piece of this YA book reading audience, and they are manipulated and they're sold to and
put down,
used.
If I have one more think piece about how millennials are worthless, it's just like, oh my God.
It's just so funny because you think a generation is going to learn not to do that.
So for our read aloud supply with an army, we wanted to give Katniss a break.
She deserves one.
She needs a break.
This is a spoilerific.
Super spoilerific because most of our favorite ladies don't make it to the end. We want to give Rue an army.
We do. Basically, this came from we want to give
Rue gets an army.
Yeah, that girl can command an army for sure. We decided we would elect Madge, the mayor's daughter. Pretty sure she could have a pretty good handle on that kind of elected power.
I'd like to read Prim.
And yeah, let's read Prim.
Like, I feel like she could really advance medical science.
And also help the world's empathy quotient.
Mm-hmm.
We're all about empowering teen girls here. And to that,